Hello everybody. So this week for my video, I'm going to be talking about the 1964 Alaskan earthquake. This was the strongest earthquake ever recorded in North America, and it had a moment magnitude of 9.2. This happened at about 5:36 p.m. on March 27th of 1964. This is also called the Good Friday earthquake. The shaking of this earthquake led to water, sewer, gas line breaks, widespread telephone and electrical failures, and it also led to homes being torn apart. The death toll of this earthquake was 131. 15 of these people died during the initial tremors, and the rest of them died in the tsunamis and landslides that occurred afterwards. So these tsunamis, landslides, and submarine slumps that caused massive property damage and loss of life were really the worst of it. The Alaskan earthquake of 1964 lasted for over 4 minutes, and it was located near a plate boundary. It was located at the subduction zone, where the North American plate overrides the Pacific plate. So this played a major role in creating the earthquake because of the giant fault that slipped. During the earthquake, it's estimated that the fault slipped between 30 to 60 feet, so there was a really large shift there. Since this was a subduction zone, this must have been a reverse fault. As I said, this earthquake was very strong and resulted in a great loss of life and property damage, with a death toll that reached 131 people. But the biggest issue was probably the after effects, like the tsunamis and the landslides. This earthquake also caused a change in the coastline. Surveys taken immediately afterward showed that parts of the Alaskan coast sank up to 8 feet, while other parts rose up to 38 feet, and much of the coast moved 50 feet towards the ocean. Tsunamis came immediately after the tremors, so people had no time to flee. And aside from these local tsunamis, this earthquake triggered a large tectonic tidal wave. This tidal wave caused massive property damage in Washington, Oregon, and California, and actually claimed 4 lives in Oregon and 12 in California. So this just shows how large this earthquake really was and how serious the effects were. Earthquakes like these are unpreventable, and they are really hard to predict also. But to mitigate the effects of these earthquakes, I think it's important to understand vulnerability. So some buildings are more vulnerable to earthquake damage than others. Poorly made housing is going to be more vulnerable. So first, I think you could try to build stronger buildings that could better handle earthquake damage. Earthquakes can also affect transportation when roads and bridges are destroyed. So I think it would also be important to come up with a plan for emergency response.